Good afternoon and welcome to the SPP APR, the IDEA Part C Technical Webinar for FFY 2021. My name is Alec Walker and I'm with the Partner Support Center. A few things to keep in mind during today's webinar session. Everyone is on mute today, but to ask a question, please enter them into the Q&A panel on the right side of your screen. The presentation will be available on the SPP APR Community of Practice site as a recording along with the slide deck used today after today's presentation. And also, please note we will answer technical questions at the end of the presentation, but again, you can add your questions throughout the presentation via that Q&A box. And make sure you select the send button at the end so we're able to view them. All right, so our agenda for today is as follows. We'll review the timeline for the SPP APR Part C. We'll review the FFY 2021 changes, user roles, some system features. Then I will present a recorded demonstration of the system, and we'll review some available TA documents and again, answer your technical questions. So please note that this webinar is focused on the technical aspects of using the system. So that Q&A panel will be monitored and we'll respond to those questions at the end that are technically related. All right, so moving on to our Part C SPP APR timeline. So the SPP APR will open on December 19th, that's this coming Monday, and will close on February 1st, 2023. This also includes the ESSA, which as of last year was merged into the initial submission as well. The state clarification period is April 11th, 2023 through April 25th, 2023. And then determinations will be issued on June 21st, 2023. So I would like to go over some changes for FFY 2021. So first, let's go over some particular indicators. So indicator 4, the response rate tables will be used to compare 2021 responses to 2020 responses. For indicator 11, which is that SIP section, there are additional narrative questions that have been added to sections B and C. And then updates to all indicators. So current and prior year targets, historical data, and baseline data are preloaded. Preloaded values for current year targets, baseline year, and baseline data are now editable. Status and slippage fields will appear as NA until data is entered. And a specific note that comments entered into the provide reasons for slippage fields will be removed automatically when results are recalculated, resulting in no slippage or an NA status. So next, I'd like to review the user roles in the APR tool. So there are 4 total roles. These are the same as last year. They do vary just a little bit, so I'm going to review each of these. The first is the view user. They can only view data, they can view and print the APR, and view OSIP responses and required actions during the clarification phase. They can also enter state internal comments. The next user role is the data entry users. So these folks can view, enter, and update data, as well as view and print APRs. However, they cannot submit the APR. They can also enter state internal comments and view OSIP responses and required actions during that clarification period or phase. Next is the super user. These folks can basically do everything. They can view, enter, update data, and submit the APR. Again, they can view and print APRs, internal comments, and view those OSIP responses and required actions. And then last but not least is the submission release user. These folks can view and submit their state's APR. However, they cannot update or edit data. They can also view and print APRs, and they can also enter state internal comments and view OSIP responses during the clarification phase. So with that in mind, this is very important before Monday's open. So for your user roles, for your accounts, all that stuff, all that access to the SPP APR, if for any reason you or someone in your state needs different permissions or a change needs to be made with your users, the Part C state coordinator for the state must contact PSC to request that access be adjusted or for those new accounts be created. If a new account is required, we require the name, title, email, phone, and the user role to get the account set up. So again, if you need your access updated or new users added, please contact the EdFax Partner Support Center. Our email's on the slide, edfax@ed.gov. I do see a couple comments in the Q&A panel that I do want to address before we go any further. So I see a question here. Can you see your user status on eMaps Online? Yes. So once you log into the APR tool, there is a help tab, and we'll review it in our recorded system demonstration, where you can view each user and then their user permissions as well. So if you want to wait until the 19th to go in, look at all those permissions before you actually contact PSE, you could do that as well. All right, so moving on to system features. So first, I'd like to review historical data. So all of the SPP APR tables are preloaded with prior year data and responses. The historical values of the data elements appear in the system, and because they are considered historical, they may not be edited. Please let PSE know if you have any questions regarding your historical data. And next, I'd like to review the Part C pre-filled data that you will see in your SPP APR. So other data that appear in the system are pre-filled. So pre-filled data for the Part C SPP APR are made up of 618 data submissions to eMaps, which cannot be updated. The EdFax data files and snapshot dates are listed on this page. So this slide includes indicators 2, 5, and 6. I'm just going to go ahead and briefly review these. We'll hang out on this page for a moment just so you can review them as well. So indicator 2, they are pre-filled from the school year 21-22 eMaps IDEA Part C Child Count and Settings Survey. The data pre-fill tables provide the total number of infants and toddlers with IFSPs and the number of infants and toddlers with IFSPs who primarily receive early intervention services in the home or community-based settings. So the data from, the date from the snapshot is July 6th, 2022 will be used, and this will not be refreshed. Also, indicators 5 and 6 are pre-filled from the school year 21-22 eMaps IDEA Part C Child Count and Setting Surveys for indicators 5 and 6. And this is data from the snapshot on July 6th, 2022. So that'll be used, and that will also not be refreshed. Another note is that data from the annual state resident population estimates from census are also used in indicators 5 and 6 for the denominators. So data from this is from a snapshot on July 1st, 2022 will be used from census and not be refreshed. All right, next we're going to be reviewing a couple more indicators that have pre-filled data. So these are indicators 9 and 10. So indicator 9 is pre-filled with school year 2021-22 eMaps IDEA Part C dispute resolution survey data. And this is from November 2nd, 2022 and will not be refreshed. And that same survey data will populate indicator 10. And same deal as before. The snapshot is November 2nd, 2022, and will not be refreshed. So if you do have any questions about your pre-filled data when you get into the APR tool, first and foremost, you would want to check those data sources that it's pulling data from. But if you have any further questions, please always contact the Partner Support Center. All right, next, I'd like to go over the descriptions of stakeholder involvement. So the descriptions of stakeholder involvement are collected in the introduction and can be applied to all results indicators. If you choose to apply this to all results indicators, the narrative entered in the introduction will appear in each one. In addition to that narrative, additional information can be provided in each of the results indicators. Next, I'd like to review marking indicators as NA or not applicable. So some indicators may not be applicable for your state's SPP APR. If that's the case, these can be marked as not applicable. So we will see this in the recorded demo in a bit, but just to note whether an indicator is applicable to your state, or if you're not sure, please contact the ePartner Support Center. Please also know that after marking an indicator not applicable, an explanation must be entered into the text field, and the page should also be saved. Another note here is you do also have to mark these indicators as ready to submit before you're able to actually submit the SPP APR. All right. Another feature in the SPP APR are cascading questions. So indicator questions in the SPP APR cascade. These questions are sets of questions whose options depend on the response to the previous question. The red text in the SPP APR state templates show you where to expect to see cascading questions in the tool. And here is just kind of more of an abstract visual of how that works. You can see based on the response to the question at the top, there are two different paths to take to answer the questions that follow. All right, moving on to slippage. So in the SPP APR, the APR tool calculates slippage for indicators. Indicators with slippage are flagged on the dashboard. A definition of slippage is a worsening from the previous data and a failure to meet the target. The worsening also needs to meet certain thresholds to be considered slippage. So no slippage will display when the current year and prior year difference equals 1.0 or 0.1 percentage points. Slippage will display as NA in the system even when the status is met target if prior data are not available, or NVR, not valid or reliable. Also, this is new for this year. Comments entered in the provide reasons for slippage fields will be removed automatically when results are recalculated, resulting in no slippage or NA or not applicable fields. And slippage calculations can be viewed in the system by pressing the plus symbol at the bottom of the page. And that will appear on every page in the APR tool. All right, so moving along to descriptive responses. These are also considered narrative responses and comment fields. The maximum character limit for these is 8,000 characters. To validate the length of your responses, you can use the with spaces count in Word or enter the text into Notepad++. Please note that the form cannot be saved if there are more than 8,000 characters entered. So upon clicking save, the system won't allow you to actually save the response entered, and it will prevent you from marking the indicator as ready to submit. Something else to note here is there is a character remaining field at the bottom of each narrative response that you can actually look at there to see how many characters you have in your field and how many you have remaining. All right, and just some more information about those descriptive responses. The other thing to keep in mind regarding the response boxes is that these are flat text fields. So the SPP APR output report created by the tool will be consistent and easy to read. But the boxes will not accommodate charts, bold text, italics, or hyperlinks. All right. So moving on to another mechanism of collecting data in the SPP APR, attachments. So states should work towards only providing data in the narrative sections or descriptive sections within the SPP APR collection tool. Attachments should only be uploaded if supplemental information is absolutely required. If attachments are needed to be uploaded in the event that additional information is needed to be provided, these are the guidelines you should keep in mind. Be sure to use a standard naming convention for all attachments so they are easily identifiable in both the file names and the description of the attachments. They can be in any format, but may not be more than 1 gigabyte in size. And most importantly, all attachments uploaded must be 508 compliant, and a screenshot of the 508 checker must be included at the end of the document. Please remember to add alt text for the 508 checker screenshot or screenshots appended at the end of the document. Keep in mind that any uploaded attachments that are non-compliant will not be included in the final APR that is publicly posted. Please be sure to review the 508 Technical Assistance document posted to the SPP APR Community of Practice site for more information and guidance on 508 compliancy. Next, I'd like to review the reports that are available in the APR tool. So these include the SPP APR document and the internal comments extract. The SPP APR document is a Word document that can be generated on demand and downloaded at any time. It will contain current saved system responses, allowing you to review or share as necessary before and after submission. All questions and response fields from the template will appear in the docx document, and the final output created will include all uploaded attachments. Also, the CSV extract file of all internal comments are also available for your state's internal record keeping purposes. All right. So next, we're going to switch gears and I will present a recorded demonstration of the SPP APR Part C system. So if you could please bear with me for one moment, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. Upon accessing the APR tool login screen, click I agree to accept the Department of Education's warning banner. Then you'll need to enter your username and password. I do want to point out that if you don't know your password, you can select this forgot your password link and then enter your username, not your email address, and then select the send email button. This will send an individualized link to reset your eMAPS password yourself. If you still have issues logging in, please contact the Partner Support Center. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select the Back to Sign In page. And I'm going to log in myself, so I'll have to hit I agree, and I'll enter my username and password. and I'll select sign in. Upon logging in, the system routes directly to the EDFACS portal. If you're unfamiliar with the EDFACS portal, this is where the links to access individual data collection surveys are located. If you have permissions to other EMAPS data collections, you'll have additional sections and/or survey links on the EDFACS portal. Click the affiliated link, which will route you to the SPP APR state dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and select IDEA Part C SPP APR, and this will take you again to the Part C state dashboard. Let's go over each feature so that you have a better understanding of how to utilize the dashboard to manage your state's submission of the APR. The top menu bar has quick navigation to the dashboard, which we'll review shortly in detail throughout the demonstration. But first, let's review the Help tab. You'll see that there are a number of tabs here that you can select. On the Resource tab, you'll have access to the Part C template. The Getting Started tab is where you can find the APR tool user guide. In the State User tab has a list of all SPP APR users for your state with their information, if provided, and the SPP APR role or their permissions that they've been assigned. If users need to be added and/or removed or permissions have changed, please contact the Partner Support Center. And if you select the Contact Support tab, you'll have all of the Partner Support Center's contact information at your disposal. And again, please reach out to the Partner Support Center if you need assistance in any way, shape, or form when it comes to the APR tool. So I'm going to return back to the dashboard by selecting the dashboard icon. All right, so going back to the dashboard, this status displayed here, not started, is the overall status of the state's SPP APR. Once you initially begin editing a section and save it, this will change to in progress. On the right, this is the collection that pre-populates the SPP APR. For SPP APR Part C, the Dispute Resolution Survey pre-populates some indicator data. The Milestones bar is a timeline of all upcoming SPP APR open and close dates, all in one place for you to always have a reference. As the dates pass, the milestone bar will turn blue and will continue to move forward towards each date. The progress summary pie chart reflects the overall progress of your SPP APR. Below that chart are statuses broken down by indicator. The legend on the left helps you understand the pie chart. This pie chart will update in real time as you begin manually entering data into indicators and eventually marking them as ready to submit. If you click a status on the pie chart, it actually filters the bottom section of the dashboard to display the indicators specifically in that status. Clicking the pie chart again clears this filter. The bottom section of the state dashboard is reserved for information on each indicator. The status column displays the overall status of the entire indicator itself. Also displayed here will be whether the data met or did not meet the 2021 target and whether or not slippage occurred. A gray X indicates that the data element isn't relevant to the indicator. Next, let's talk navigation. There are two ways to navigate throughout the SPP APR in the APR tool. From the state dashboard, to enter and edit an indicator, click the pencil icon to the left. This will jump you directly to that indicator. The other way to navigate from indicator to indicator while you're entering data into specific indicators is to use the drop-down menu at the top, also called the Quick Access. You can easily navigate to any other indicator by using this drop-down menu, which is available on any page of the SPP APR while entering data. Simply select an indicator and select Go, which will then take you to that indicator page directly. You can also navigate to indicators using the left navigation panel. And you can use the plus and minus symbols to expand and collapse different indicators. So to return back to indicator 3, to the indicator data page, I'm going to go ahead and select this link. To begin manually entering data in any indicator, click the Edit button here. You'll see the words Form is in edit mode in red font on the left, which indicates that you can now enter the manual entry data and comments as applicable. Clicking the Prev or Previous button will take you to the immediate indicator page prior to the one you're on. Clicking the Next button will advance you to the immediate indicator following the one you're looking at. As mentioned before, you can also use the drop-down menu at the top to skip directly to a specific indicator and a specific indicator subsection. Note that you'll remain in edit mode when navigating through indicators and entering data into your state's annual report. You won't exit edit mode until you click back to the dashboard, review/submit, or close out of the website entirely. However, do not close out of the website entirely unless you have saved your data. Otherwise, everything you have entered will be lost. Also note, the character limit for text fields in the SPP APR is 8,000 characters. The character limit is displayed below each text field. If a comment or description field is over 8,000 characters, the system will not allow the form to be saved as a draft. Data entry cannot continue until the character count is 8,000 or less, and the section is unable to be marked as ready to submit. Once the character limit is 8,000 or less, the page will save and can be marked ready to submit. Tip: to determine the character count, use the with spaces count in Microsoft Word or enter the text into Notepad++, which will count the characters. From there, copy and paste the text into the APR tool, comment or description field. So I'm going to go ahead and enter some test data. Once you have entered your data, you can scroll to the top or bottom of the page and select the Save button. Upon clicking Save, the system will return you to view mode on that same indicator, and a new Ready to Submit button will appear. This button should be clicked, and then the system will display a message highlighted in green at the bottom that states, "You have successfully updated section status to Ready to Submit" at the bottom of your screen. That's it. This indicator has now been marked as ready to submit. Before we continue, I do want to make it very clear that marking an indicator as ready to submit should be completed after all data has been entered into every section of the indicator, including required actions. This is extremely important because once an indicator is marked as ready to submit, the system considers it complete. If data are entered after marking an indicator as ready to submit, it could impact the overall status of the SPP APR. So make sure data entry is complete and reviewed before marking an indicator as ready to submit. So next, let's go back to the dashboard. When you return to the dashboard, you can see that the progress summary pie chart has updated and the status for indicator 3 now reflects ready to submit. Next, I'd like to review the Reports tab. Here is where you'll find a docx version of your state's SPP APR, both pre and post submission. Before submission, you're able to view the docx, which will display information as it is entered into the APR by selecting this docx link. The system will prompt you to download it to your computer. Once the APR is submitted, the submission date and time will appear. You can download the final docx version of your submitted APR. All right, I've navigated back to the dashboard, and off screen I have marked all my sections as ready to submit. You'll see my entire pie chart is purple. And you'll see all my indicators are listed as ready to submit. So once all data has been validated, both pre-populated and manual entry, and every section is identified as ready to submit, your overall status will be updated to ready to submit. So now, once you're ready to officially submit your SPP APR, you can go ahead and initiate the certification process. So someone with the submit permissions must select the submit button on the dashboard, or you can select the review/submit tab and access the certification page. So I will go ahead and select the submit button on the dashboard, and this takes you to the certification page. And I'm going to go ahead and select edit. And I'm going to fill out the certification page. You'll have to provide a response for every section before you're able to actually hit submit APR in the bottom right. So let me go ahead and fill this out real quick. This is test data. All right, so once all information has been added, you can select the button in the bottom right that says Submit APR. And a note at the bottom will appear in green stating that your APR report has been submitted successfully. That means the process of submission is complete. So now I'm going to go ahead and select that dashboard icon again to return back to the dashboard. And now our overall status appears as submitted and turns green, as well as the progress summary pie chart. Additionally, a confirmation email will be sent to all active users in the state. Please note that resubmissions are not allowed. Once the SPP APR is officially submitted, the report is considered final. And an additional reminder to mark indicators as ready to submit once all data entry has been reviewed and is deemed final. So that concludes our SPP APR technical demonstration. Please note you can contact the Partner Support Center or PSC for assistance with the APR tool. We are displaying our phone number and email contact information on the screen now. And if you could please give me a few moments, we'll pull up the remainder of today's webinar presentation. Thank you very much. All right, thank you everyone. So next, we'd like to review the technical assistance materials that are available. They are posted on the SPP APR Community of Practice website. There are a number of different vehicles where we provide technical assistance. We have some short technical videos that provide quick guidance on navigating the APR tool, resetting passwords, uploading attachments, kind of like those general kind of technical topics. We also have a Part C user guide that will include all of our technical guidance, screenshots in the system, everything to that extent. We also have broadcasts that will be published after they are distributed. So you can locate our particular broadcast, and you can find that in the document section of the SPP APR. And then also we have the SPP APR, the state template that we reviewed briefly earlier that goes through each indicator, what prefills, and you can also see the data cells and whether they're preload, if they're editable, uneditable. That's always a great tool for everyone. And if you have questions throughout the process of the SPP APR, please contact the Partner Support Center. We're here from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, weekdays excluding federal holidays. Our phone number is 877-457-3336, or you can email us at edfax@ed.gov. So I would like to take the next few minutes to give folks some time to submit any additional technical questions they may have regarding the APR tool, the SPP APR, or anything in preparation for Monday's Open. So again, we'll give folks maybe 5 minutes or so to submit any questions in the Q&A panel, and we will circle back 5 minutes from now. So thank you, everyone. And again, if you have any questions, please add those in the Q&A panel. Hi, everyone. As a reminder, we're currently in the question and answer phase of today's webinar. It does look like we've responded to all the questions we have received. So if there are any more, please, we'll give folks another couple minutes to submit them. I do want to call out a few things. So one, the SPP APR TA resources can be found on the OSIP Grads 360 account on the SPP APR resources tab. We've provided that link in the Q&A panel as a response. And then also this webinar is being recorded. So the video recording, which will have the audio, and the slide deck will be posted on that same SPP APR resources page after today's session. And we will also link that in our launch broadcast come Monday. So again, I'll give folks another minute or so to submit any questions and before we close today's out. All right, everyone. Looks like we've addressed all the technical questions that we have received. So I do want to close out today's presentation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. As always, please feel free to contact the Partner Support Center with any questions or concerns regarding the SPP APR and or the APR tool. Again, this PowerPoint, as well as the audio recording of today's webinar, will be made available on the community site. You can always contact PSC to request a copy of these materials. So that concludes today's presentation. Please, everyone, stay tuned for the launch broadcast that will go out Monday, December 19th, which will have information on accessing the tool so you all can get in there and begin your SPP APR Part C. So again, that concludes today's presentation. Thank you so much for your time and participation today, and have a great rest of your day.